It's that time of the year. The holidays are here. So welcome back to the YouTube channel. In today's video, we are discussing about dieting around the holidays. The holidays right around the corner. You got all your holidays such as your Thanksgiving, work-related holiday party, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year party, and you're probably gonna be eating out a lot more often because your friends are gonna be home from school, especially if they're on school right now and they're away. A lot of kids gonna be home, so there's gonna be a lot more events during the next couple weeks. So next couple weeks, you're probably gonna have a lot of events that you have to attend to. People are just gonna want to go out and eat more often. So I would say, give or take, you're probably gonna have 5 to 10 events for the next couple weeks. My approach to dieting around the holidays is really find that good middle ground for yourself when you're dieting around the holidays, and not try to be too restrictive on yourself where you can't enjoy the festivities, but at the same time don't let yourself loose and go crazy. A lot of times you're probably not in control of the food that you're gonna have, right? Many times, unless you're the host and you're the person making the food and you're the person collecting all the ingredients and doing all the recipes, you're probably not in control of what you're gonna eat, right? You're probably heading over to someone's house, family member's house. The family member's gonna bring different type of dishes together, so there's gonna be a ton of different options that are probably gonna be high in calories and you can't control. So to say, go with the lower calorie option is what a lot of people say, like, oh, pick this sauce, is typically the advice I give a lot of people when they're choosing their food options. In this case, I can't give that option because I don't think a lot of people can actually benefit from picking lower calorie stuff. Most of us are probably gonna have the full flavor and high caloric foods. So instead of having an approach where you go with that lower calorie option, you're probably out of control for that. You're probably not the one making the food. So instead, focus on how many events you're having and don't worry too much about how many calories you're eating within those events. And instead, just go right back on track the next day, or the days where you don't have those events, the days where no one's asking you to go out to eat, the days where you don't have a holiday party. Those are the days you just eat your normal diet and you kind of eat your regular foods, your regular food intake and your options. My best advice before this video ends, if you just want to take one advice from me, is to pretty much eat normally on the days where you don't have those events, right? So do your 5 to 10 events, or if you have more, do those events, and that's it. Those other days, keep it normal and keep it simple. Just go back to your normal diet. So with that being said, that's my take on dieting around holidays, but I do want to go over a couple things that's gonna help. So I wrote down some notes here. As you can see, don't go off your diet for a full month, right? So that goes back to me saying, don't just indulge every single day. Like, there's days where you're not gonna have a party, there's days where your friends are not gonna invite you out to eat. So on those days, just go back to your normal diet and just don't go all out the full month, right? That's where a lot of people mess up. They go all out the full month. For the next couple of weeks, they go all out in terms of letting themselves loose, and then they lose the motivation to get back on track, right? When you can still do somewhat of your dieting throughout this month on those days where you're not having any of these events, you're gonna have a better time getting back on track after the new year, after everything is said and done, and when it's time to actually go back to a normal routine. It will be a lot easier for you to do that if you have some type of structure, or you stay somewhat on track during these next couple of weeks. I see this a lot in people go on vacations, which is not a bad thing, right? You go on your vacation, but people go on vacations, people do all the holiday events and do nothing in terms of their workouts, and just eat everything, and then they end up losing the motivation and losing that consistency of staying on track, and then it sets them back, and then they end up losing motivation, and then they have to find that motivation again to get started again in the new year, right? So if you actually don't go off your diet for the full month, it'll be so helpful for you after the new year to actually get back on track and go back to a normal routine and doing things. The next thing here is eat until you're full mentality. So that's a very common thing I tell a lot of people. Just eat until you're full. Give yourself some type of rule and guideline. Try not to overeat and indulge where you can't even move. Like if you're getting to a point where you're sick and tired of eating and you're still stuffing yourself with food, you should probably stop, and you should probably just reconsider. When you're full, just stop eating. So you don't have to do the all or nothing mentality. Just make sure you eat until you're full. As easy as that, and that's it. So another thing you want to do during the holiday season, if you're having all these events, is you can set some boundaries for yourself. This is the thing I like to tell a lot of my clients that I work with, is if you want to stay on track and you really want to not let yourself go loose, is to set boundaries and set some type of limitation for yourself so you don't overindulge during those parties. I'm not saying don't eat any of the food they have there. You know, if you have a Thanksgiving get together, you have a Christmas party, eat some of the food, right? It's that time of the season. You should give yourself some time to enjoy, and you know, all the festivities, and also the family and members you have around you, and the food as well. That's a big thing. Like, I love food, I'm sure you do too, and you don't just restrict yourself throughout the whole year, because then that's when you end up binging and eating everything in your sight. So right before you go to these events, just set some boundaries for yourself. Maybe tell yourself, I'll have 1 to 2 plates of food, you know, 1 type of dessert that they have there, and then I'll have 1 to 2 drinks, and that'll be it. You know, if you actually set these mental boundaries for yourself, whether you break them or not, just setting them for yourself prior is gonna help you so much, because mentally you're gonna be in a better place, and you're gonna know, you know, how many drinks I can have, how many plates of food I can have, and how many slices of pies I can have. That way you don't get too crazy, and you don't just tell yourself, hey, I'm eating like crap, might as well just keep going. Do this for yourself if you really want to stay on track and you want to have some type of structure. I know not everyone needs it, but for those of you who like to have structure, make sure you set some boundaries and some limitations for yourself. That way you don't go too crazy during all these events. And another big one is right here, is continue to work out and train. I said this earlier, that people go on vacation and they end up doing nothing, like literally nothing. Like, even if it's not like training with weights, even if you could just go out for a walk, or you could go do something active, you know, go play in the snow, have a snowball fight, you know, build a snowman with your kids, for a lot of parents out there. If you just continue to work out and train and be active during the holidays, it's gonna help a lot. The problem is, a lot of people, they throw this out the window. You know, they say, hey, I already had all this food, you know, I don't care, it's the holidays, too lazy, I don't want to do anything, let me just not work out and train, even though I was doing it before. This is where a lot of people tend to fall off. It's because they tell themselves, you know, I'm just gonna push it back until the New Year's, I'm just gonna wait until January 1st for me to go back to working out. But then they end up not doing it at all. And trust me, I work with a lot of people who've done that before. It takes them a while to get back on track, because they just cut out cold turkey completely during the holidays, and then once it's time to get going again, get back to a routine of things, it's very hard for them to do so, because they just cut it out completely during the holidays. So if you can, please do this for yourself. Continue to do your training, continue to do your workouts. If you're working out 2 times a week, continue to do that. I know it's going to get busy, because you know, you have to go travel to see family, or you have family coming over, but if you can, do your best to stay active. You know, stick to your schedule for your workouts. Even though your diet may change, try to keep this variable the same. That's what a lot of people tend to neglect during the holidays, is they change too many variables. They stop eating good in general, and then they end up not training at all. So make sure you stick to your training, and if your diet falls off, it falls off, but the training, for sure, I highly recommend everyone to stick to their training during the holidays. So last note I have here is just to have your desserts and pies after your plate of food. I think a lot of people tend to eat the dessert even before they even have their plate of food, and then they have more desserts afterwards. So if you can, try to limit your sweets, the cookies, and all those extra calories that's added into the holidays. Try to have it after your plate of food. So after you have your turkey, your whole foods, such as your green beans, your mashed potatoes, and all that good stuff, have your desserts and your pies afterwards, and that's gonna help you a lot in terms of not overeating, especially the desserts. I know a lot of people could down probably a couple slices if they weren't full yet, so make sure you get somewhat full or close to full off the whole foods, and then afterwards have your desserts, have that 1 to 2 slices after your plate of food. Right, so that's my recommendation when it comes to the dessert and pies that you have during the Thanksgiving, especially also the cookies as well during the Christmas time events. So if you can't, try to have them after the whole foods, and it's probably gonna help you reduce that consumption. Okay, with that being said, these are a couple of my tips that I have for you during the holiday season, how you can actually diet around the holidays. And to be honest, it's not really dieting around the holidays, it's how to manage your diet around the holidays, right? You don't really diet on the days you have those events, it's what you do afterwards and kind of your mindset afterwards. And just knowing that if you're gonna have kind of 10 events these next couple weeks, like I said before, try to stick to a regular diet on those days where you don't have these events, right? And then that way you don't overconsume every single day, and you don't just go out the window with your nutrition and your workouts. So hope that was helpful. If it was, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. That could be greatly appreciated because it's gonna help this channel and also this video. And also comment down below what else would you like to see from me and on this channel. So I know New Year's is coming up next, and I'm probably do a video on New Year's resolution, how you can stick to them, and how you cannot give up after 3 months. Also, make sure you subscribe down below for future content. We do a video here every single week, so make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notification, so you get notified when I upload. With that being said, if you have any other comments or questions, make sure you comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer that for you. And I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Peace.